The knowing mind is a mind that walks the middle path, able to perceive phenomena as they truly are. In scriptural terms, it is referred to as Mahakusala Citta, Chan Sampayut Asankarikang. Mahakusala Citta is the great wholesome mind. A wholesome mind is free from greed, anger, and delusion. It possesses lightness, gentleness, softness, and agility without sluggishness. It can perceive phenomena straightforwardly and honestly, without interference or bias. This great wholesome mind is called the Mahakusala Citta, Chana Sampayut Asankarikang. As said earlier, Mahakusala Citta, the great wholesome mind, is free from greed, anger, and delusion. It possesses lahutta, which means lightness. It has mututta, which means gentleness and softness. It also has agility and swiftness, called bakunyata. It is capable of functioning and suitable, ready for work, which is called kamanyata. And it is honest in knowing the object, called uchukata. These are the characteristics of a truly wholesome mind. The knowing mind is not just a wholesome mind, it is also a wholesome mind capable of cultivating wisdom. There are two kinds of wholesome minds. One is wholesome but remains passive. The other kind is capable of cultivating wisdom and attaining wisdom. For the mind to cultivate wisdom, it must not be the mind that is fixed into stillness, and not the mind that is lost in wandering elsewhere. It is a state where the mind is with itself, with the body and being, that it can cultivate wisdom. If there is a body, but the mind forgets the body, or if there are thoughts and feelings, but the mind forgets them, then wisdom cannot be cultivated. Because cultivating wisdom at a higher level, at the stage of vipassana, doesn't involve knowing anything else. It's simply knowing form and mind, knowing this very body and mind of ours. Sometimes the mind becomes peaceful and still. Is it wholesome? Yes, it is. But it cannot cultivate wisdom. We can practice. Sometimes the mind brightens and goes outward, staying in a state of brightness and emptiness. It can remain like that for days, months, or even years. If one were to die in that state, they would become a Brahma, dwelling in that brightness and emptiness for eons. While many Buddhas have already attained enlightenment and entered Nibbana, yet that state of emptiness continues without an easy end in sight. Or we have a wholesome mind when we want to make merit, offer alms, or listen to Dhamma teachings. These are all with wholesome minds, but it does not turn back to observing the body or the mind, and thus has not yet begun cultivating wisdom. Knowing mind is not about knowing something else. Knowing mind is about knowing so of one's own body and mind. Knowing how the body is as it is. Knowing how the mind is as it is. This can be called the mind which is capable of cultivating wisdom. The knowing mind can be two kinds, the right knowing and the wrong knowing. The right knowing is light, gentle, soft, agile, and diligent in learning about the objects of experience. It's honest in knowing without interference. The wrong knowing is hard, stiff, and rigid. When the mind feels heavy, tense, hard, sluggish, or dull, that is the wrong knowing.